All right, and hi everybody. We're back with our last game of the match, and this is actually our first semi-final. We'll be watching Osborne 2 versus McNally today, and make sure you guys keep in tune for tomorrow. We'll be doing the other semi-final, third place, and the finals. We'll even have a really pro analyst. It's gonna be sick. But
yeah, you guys won't have to be stuck with me.
Oh no, don't say that. You're already smurfing on this. But anyway, let's get into our match here. We got everybody locked up in the lobbies, and we'll be able to get into pro draft very soon here. Alrighty, we're already in. Perfect. All right, we got Osborne 2 versus McNally here. So Osborne 2 actually does kind of play much like their predecessor, where they kind of like to go for this mechanical advantage and big outplays. You guys did see them earlier. You also saw McNally earlier. McNally does like to play kind of those more split push comps, but also they like to mix in like counter engage and kind of make like very fluid comps that are very versatile that I've really enjoyed watching. And you did see them execute it very well in that last round. Actually, there's a Nico target ban right off the bat there.
Yeah, the Nico and McNally's games, they were just so crucial in kind of winning the team fights, just making sure that they had a way to counter engage after, I guess, the initial wombo combo. And also the Cassidy ban coming up from McNally. Cassidy has been a favorite of Osborne, of both Osborne teams this tournament. So just getting rid of the void champions, purple and purple. Get rid of the Kaisa as well.
Okay, judging by this Nunu being banned twice against McNally here, I'm going to guess their jungler plays it a lot and people are searching up their op.gg. I'm going to go, so guess that Vladimir is the same instance because that's the same bans we've seen in the match against earlier today.
Yeah, the luxury that that blue side kind of has is you can target ban ball on red side. You have to ban away these first pick power picks. So things such as the Xayah, and I'm expecting, okay, I was going to say Hecarim, but it looks like Darius is going to be banned as well. Yeah,
Darius getting banned there. I honestly, I made the prediction last time, but it's Hecarim again. Why wouldn't you pick him? He's on the chart. He's easy to execute. Very strong. No reason not to pick him up there. And also another thing too is he does work in a lot of different comps as well, kind of versatile like the Kaisa. You don't have to commit to like a full dive comp. You can just play farm, you can play objectives. Absolutely great jungler at the moment.
Yeah, so with this, one thing that I did notice is like how Hecarim, he did get nerfed this patch. Lilia also got nerfed, but we're just seeing Hecarim a lot more, and looks like McNally, they're going to go for the Xayah pick. Again, with her ultimate, she has a lot of survivability to escape the Hecarim.
Exactly, and I think his Xayah pick is definitely very strong here. Also, you saw them play it to like great effect in the last match for like re-engage and stuff like that. They had the Nico and the Xayah ult, just fantastic combination to see. Oh, and they like going for the Kayn again, yeah. So they played the Kayn in the last game there too. Like Kayn is very versatile, kind of late game scaling champ. You can play him like with his two different stances that opt into different play styles. And you can just roam around the map and make pressure and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see McNally play more kind of an independent like solo top laner, maybe like Gangplank, maybe the Camille because it's open, and just different stuff like that. And I'm kind of curious to see what Osborne is going to pick up your second when they confirmed into the Tristana.
I'm kind of expecting a support along with that. So maybe a Nautilus or Leona, Alistar, just to get the bot lane combination. Never mind, I am not on to. I cannot predict anything today.
No, it's the Elise coming out. Wait, I feel like that is either a mistake or they're playing a flex lane Hecarim.
It's a Hecarim top.
Yeah, it must be a Hecarim top.
Okay, that is.
All right, that's pretty meaty.
That's interesting. I mean, at least she does have a really strong early game.
All right, it was a mistake.
It's a mistake.
I got excited. We confirmed in chat. We got the hey, can we restart? So, yeah, definitely not the Elise picked in there. I was just sitting there really confused for a second because unfortunately Hecarim top hasn't been a thing for a hot while. But yeah, we're gonna remake here. Probably go up to that. Honestly, I'm gonna guess maybe that Graves pick is also just another throwaway pick.
Just
another troll pick. You know, get in there. We also got another jungler, double jungler game.
Yeah, we might. I mean, like just have 4 junglers and 1 AD carry. That's just gonna be the game.
I think that would be extremely optimal. Please ignore the other lanes. Whichever minion wave wins, you know, it's just the way it goes.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll get started in here. Actually, looking the shape up. I honestly feel like McNally is probably gonna opt into that style they wanted to play before. I'm kind of curious to see if maybe they will pick up like the Camille, just because I think it's such a power pick at the moment, particularly in that solo lane and which is how McNally likes to play. Maybe even a Kled. Oh, yeah. So they have a lot of options to work around with that. And Osborne, as I said, I think that at least was meant to be a support. I do agree with that. Probably Nautilus, Leona kind of secure that bot lane, give them good pressure. I think because Leona was open, I think Leona's a bit of a better pick than Nautilus. They're both extremely strong, but I think Leona a little easier to play around in some respects, and just so W.
Also, we haven't seen Rel at all, but I do kind of want to see what she can do in this tournament. With the amount of gauge that Hecarim also has, having the Tristana jump in there as well. So Rel, being a newer champion, a lot of players might not have picked up on her, but she does work really well with these dive comps as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we're getting our bands redone here. Yeah, no, I'm kind of curious to see which pick is going to come out of here. I think the third one is going to be a top laner on the side of McNally, or they're going to save it for counter pick later.
I do like picking the top laner, saving the counter pick for top lane, just so that you can get a favorable matchup. Oh yeah.
That I think is a disadvantage too. No, there's the Malphite picked up from Osborne too. Well, there's one top laner there, so that actually does give McNally maybe the counter pick if they want to opt into it now, just to avoid potential target bans towards the top lane of those power split pushers that McNally does like to go towards.
Yeah, Malphite, he can be very easily bullied during the early stages, and right now a Gnar might come out, or well, Gnar is, as we said before, is kind of difficult to work around the rage bar, or just get the bot lane duo, just get Xayah and get Thresh.
Yeah, I mean, Thresh is definitely a huge pick. I've actually seen a ton of it in this tournament, very prominent in pro play as well. It just gives you so much protection onto your AD carry, but he's also versatile in the way that he can engage if need be. But having a Xayah and a Thresh, you have so many ways to disengage and keep your AD carry who's just shooting out a ton of damage. Very, very safe. And actually, say the Malphite all comes in. Well, there's already an interaction. You can see here the Xayah ult goes up. Thresh is there to like box him in. There's not a lot he can do after that. So a really, really good bot lane to play around some of this engage that Osborne does have so far. And a Morgana Ben coming down here to kind of deny anything from denying the Thresh engage if they want it in the bot lane.
Yeah, and like on the side of Osborne, I did talk about the Gnar and how it could bully the Malphite. And you can see Osborne, they want to avoid that, so they just ban it. And McNally banning the Anivia. Yeah, in that one game where we did see in Anivia, she was able to just place if you can get a good wall placement and ultimate, it can do a lot of damage in these team fights.
Yeah, and just a ton of damage too after she got her rework. Been very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
They fixed a lot of her problems that made her kind of inconsistent and hard to work with. And she's now, I think, a very, very prominent, good pick in the mid lane. Very, pretty strong in the early game, a little mana dependent though. And then the late game just starts shooting out so much damage and just free wave clear with level 6, particularly once you've got your mana stacked up. And then the Kennen coming out to stop any AP top laners because McNally is pretty AD heavy. So they're looking towards banning those engage kind of split pushing AP options that they have, and I think Kennen is one of the more prominent ones. And Shogath is actually a very good option here too, because you can either go into full tank or you can build the Everfrost AP build where you still maintain, you still do a ton of damage.
Silas coming out.
I like this.
Right now I'm not, I don't see a lot of very good ultimates for Silas to pick right now. A lot of it is yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't see a lot of good ultimates coming up that Silas can pick up, other than maybe the Thresh for some slows. And it looks like, I thought they were going to go for the Nautilus, but it looks like Osborne are going to go for this Braum, which has a very strong level 1. And yeah, Tristana, once she also hits that level 2, you're also just going to jump in. Braum can also protect her very well as well.
Yeah, no, I think a ton of damage is going to come out in that level 2 for that bot lane. Just on a Braum combo is just nuts. Because, yeah, you said you can jump in that basically, if you can get the Braum passive stacking already, Tristana jump will enable you to secure it. And the Thresh damage and kind of lockdown isn't as high like level 2 as opposed to some other champions. And he's a little bit more squishy than your traditional tank supports. Even Braum is actually a good example. So they can trade pretty effectively into the level 2 there. And I think they're going to play around it. Also, yeah, but the Cho'Gath coming out and the Rise coming out. The Rise is going to give them a lot of damage, a lot of versatility, and some split push too, but he just doesn't do a ton of damage to turrets.
One thing that I'm going to know is that Xayah, she wants to play around the positioning of her feathers, and Braum kind of denies that with the Unbreakable. You just put it up, and all of Xayah's feathers, they can't get onto the back line. They're just sitting in front of the Braum, so it's going to be more difficult for her to get ideal feather placement.
I think it's a key counterplay in the matchup here too. So yeah, no, not a lot of good ults for the Silas to steal. I guess Ryze ult can let you do some funny stuff. Zai ult is kind of, I mean,
yeah, feathers. Put it I don't know if Silas can pull back the feathers, which I don't.
I'm very sure he can. So yeah, it's definitely not very good. Cho'Gath actually, when Cho'Gath Feast scales off of AP, correct?
I think so.
I think it does in the scaling. So if it does, then actually I think the Feast will be a big thing to pick up for the Silas, because he can obviously just get right on top of you. And I think Kayn ult is actually pretty sleeper good because it gives you the heal. And then the Silas can just get a heal right after.
Yeah, I do think that Silas just got a little bit of a buff on this last patch with his Kingslayer, his life steal W ability. So maybe they were just thinking of that. But I don't see a purpose of Silas being here. I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think on the alt side, it's a little weak, but I think in the mid lane, he's going to be able to farm and heal pretty effectively, but it also opens up a really good mid jungle duo in the form of the Hecarim and the Silas, because you can both roam so effectively. And obviously, the Ryze can't follow as well as the Silas in most cases. And then the Kayn is a bit weaker in the early game. So if they utilize the Hecarim and the Silas to gank maybe these lanes or take control of stuff like that with that combo, they might be able to set up an advantage and get if they get the Silas fed, for example, or Tristana fed, it's very easy for them to snowball this game out of control. But actually, both of these comps, I think, kind of do play roughly the same way. It's a little bit more team fight. They have a lot of pick on both sides, but they also do have good side lane pressure in them. These are actually both, I think, really well-rounded comps in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. You have this solid front line on both teams. Braum for Osborne, Cho'Gath for McNally. Once Cho'Gath does get some of these stacks, just becomes a very tanky boy. It's going to be very hard for Osborne to kind of work through that, unless if Tristana is able to get onto him.
I don't know, that's a good way to put it. So, as tradition dictates, quickly run us through the comps. Like, what kind of is the win condition for both? I kind of covered like how rounded they are, but where do you think each one should pushing, and what's kind of the importance of each of these comps?
I'm going to go straight to the Ryze in the mid lane for McNally, because Ryze, he is good in teamfights, but he's also a very strong side laner. Just being able to get some of the being able to have the side lane pressure is going to be very crucial. But that being said, Silas, I do think he is also a very good side laner. So there might be a little bit of skirmishes in the mid lane to get these mid laners ahead. So that they can also roam into the top or bottom lane as well. On the bot lane side for Osborne, Tristana, we mentioned this earlier in the day. Just because her E passive, she's gonna have that the push, but Zaya also has good wave clear later on into the game, and it's all going to come down to kind of how the supports are going to be playing. Braum is able to protect Tristana really well with his Unbreakable, also his really strong Q early game. So I do expect Tristana to have Osborne's bot lane to have the push in the early game, but it might transition over into McNally's once Zaya does get some of the wave clear abilities, get a little bit more damage into her kit. While on the top lane, it's tank versus tank. I don't expect a lot of things happening on that side.
Yeah, no, I think the focus is definitely going to be on that kind of core four in the bot lane, but like bot mid lane, because I think top lane's just going to be kind of like two tanky boys just kind of slapping each other a couple times and just farming up until mid game when they want to roam and TP and make plays and stuff like that. So
yeah, Malphite just has one job: hit R.
Hit R, slam into team. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be interesting to see that. Not necessarily, yeah, I really do sound like a broken record, but I think this is going to be another game where we're focusing on just, I think, exclusively kind of the bot scuttle and getting early game bot vision control, because the ability of the Braum and the Thresh to roam up to mid lane and bot lane is, to roam up to mid lane, assist their jungler, confirm objectives and stuff like that is very, very potent. But you also have good roam out of the Silas and even the Ryze, because they both have very easy CC to set up in the early game as well, because they both have access to a route or at least some kind of displacement by level 3. So I think you're going to see a lot of fighting in that bot lane. I think top lane is going to be kind of just an island for the most part, unless one side gets really rolling and they want to snowball it. Maybe like the Cho'Gath goes into the crossed, but I think it's better to focus on the bot lane, get your Silas fed or your Tristana fed, like just focus on your carries on both sides of the teams.
Yeah, and then also with the Hecarim over the Kayn, Hecarim is going to have early pressure over this Kayn just because of how good his clear is and how weak Kayn is in the early game. So I do expect Hecarim to kind of control the bot lane river, probably most likely before Kayn can get his evolve. So, well, that being said, once Kayn does kind of get is able to get the blue or red Kayn, whatever this player chooses, he can definitely take out the Tristana really fast in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be interesting to see which form Kayn goes into. I think with this one, yeah, the Shadow Assassin might be nice to kind of pressure that Tristana on the back line.
Like you do have,
so what's
like
that?
you have, sorry, you have a tank already with the Cho'Gath, so I do think that the blue Kayn will be better for the assassin.
Yeah, but interesting, he did take Conqueror, so I almost had this stinky feeling that he is going to try and go towards that form, so you might actually see some ganks top lane, just because like that's when you go to the melee matchups, you can easily get it. And obviously when it's the Malphite and the Cho'Gath, you can probably up there whack maybe the Malphite a couple times and just get stacks for your passive, so you might see a lot of ganks that are like, okay, why bother doing that? It's just simply to stack Kayn passive as fast as humanly possible. And it's also effective too. He can gank mid lane as well with the Silas. So if he does want to stack up into red form, I think it is very, very easy for him if he does go for these ganks early on.
Yeah, it's also, I do think red form is going to be a little bit easier just because of how many melee champions there are on the side of Osborne. So yeah, that might be the easier option in this case, just so that he can have a power spike earlier into the game.
Yeah, all right, and we're getting loaded in here for our last match of the day. Going to be Osborne 2 versus McNally in our first semifinal. Going to be who is securing off to finals. And currently with the semifinals we have here, if Osborne does take this, or we may be set up for an Osborne versus Osborne grand finals. So make sure you guys check in tomorrow to see how that one turns out. Anyway, let's get in the game here and see how the teams are going to roll out.
Yeah, you can just see the typical like cover these early entrances, make sure that no early level 1 shenanigans happen, and with the Braum, that is very likely to happen just because of how strong his Q is.
Yeah, no, you definitely don't want to take an invade into this, but
yeah, that happened to me this morning in a game when I played, and that did not go well.
Oh no. I mean, I'm definitely the guy in solo queue just spamming invade. Not because I think it's a good idea, just because most of the time I think it's really stupid and funny. So I'm sorry if I throw your solo queue games, but hey, sometimes you gotta do it.
Minions have spawned.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see that they choose not to invade, just because Braum and Tristana, they have a lot of damage.
Yeah, and also I think it's going to be interesting to see, back to the like jungle matchup, is just if the Hecarim does get ahead of this Kayn, like how snowbally is it for the Hecarim to just walk in and start stealing the jungle, just fighting the jungler and taking all their camps, much like we've seen in the other matchups. Because Hecarim, he's not, I'd say when you say he's snowbally, like something like, say, the Kha'Zix in that regard, but if you get behind him, he can definitely just roam into your jungle and just steal all your stuff.
Can I did Thresh flash?
Yes. Yes, he did. I admit, I was just focused on something stealth, but yeah, looking at the things, it looks like we do have the early flash in there. But actually, that is very scary because of how much we've been alluding to at the level 2 of the Osborne 2 is. So this mistake might actually be horrifying in a little bit here.
Yeah, I saw the summoner spell, and then I looked down onto the minimap. I saw a question mark ping came out. I'm just like, oh no. Oh
no. See, yeah, it fat fingers. It happens to the best of us, but definitely not how you want to start in this particular lane matchup.
Yeah, you can see how Xayah and Thresh, they're just pushing these minions, trying to get to the level 2 first to avoid that situation.
Yeah, it definitely makes it easier to re-engage. Now, I think they still do very strong. Little thumbs up there. It does make them a little bit strong, like easier to do that, but it also enables them to be I think ganked from the Hecarim too, but actually Hecarim scaling up there,
Hecarim's
so I don't
back
think
at
we'll have to
top.
worry about that. But actually also the early ward from McNally, as you see in that top push there, would have helped give some vision. It just expired, of course, when I start talking about it. But they were aware of like vision up in there, and the Hecarim is pushing towards top anyways, so it doesn't matter too much. You're probably just going to see some full clears from the junglers here. And actually I think it might just be a scuttle trade, judging by their pass at the current moment. And the fact that also McNally has bottom lane pushed up, so it might be easier just for the Hecarim to go take top scuttle and just concede the bottom scuttle over to McNally.
Yeah, crucially, this bottom wave is going to be pushing. It's going to be rebounding back over to.
No, looks like our stream might be dying at the current moment. If we don't get that instigated right away, we do have a backup plan in order to observe. So as of right now, you can all see the game, but we can't.
Oh. Okay, I will just continue on my point.
Yeah, for free.
As you can see, the wave from bot lane is going to be rebounding back, and this is going to kind of open Kane to a gank if he does want to. But and Cho'Gath, even though he did get the push in the top wave, he's not going to want to fight a Hecarim this early on. And
Yeah, no, definitely. And we see there was a scuttle trade going down there, just mostly because of the wave states and different stuff like that. But actually, it looks like we are going to have an early game gank coming down from the Kane. Beautiful hook coming down onto the Braum, but Braum should be buying them so much time. It looks like the support is probably going to die for the 80 carry Sins, but no, they get out with the heal. And Osborne too just absorbed that gank so well. Now there are some stacks going down onto the Kane there, but overall Osborne coming off way better on that gank.
yeah, that was just really good from Osborne, responding to that gank. Tristana jumped away immediately, and when Tristana jumps away, Braum is also able to jump to her with too. So it gives him an escape as well. Although he did to get away, but overall, I would say that's a win from Osborne. Tristana kept her flash.
Yeah, Tristana kept her flash, and then, but yeah, as you said, it's unfortunately they had to invest the Braum flash, but not dropping any kills early, particularly this kind of snowbally bot lane, is a good thing. And as you say, they're kind of just pushing in here, and I think actually McNally might go for a little bit of a push in the bottom lane to get the lane pushing up for the dragon that is spawning. Though I don't know how much they'll go into it with the Kane top, and also just the strength of Hecarim in the early game when compared to the Kane.
Yeah, right now it looks like that Hecarim is going to get spotted on this ward on the Raptors. Yeah, this is giving McNally some crucial information, which allowing this Kane to come up to the top side.
Yeah, go for the
uncontested.
Gank. Yeah, uncontested. They get the knock up on it, and it's actually going to give a ton of stacks on here. They should actually be able to knock down onto the kill here, even with the early game damage. A huge flash coming up from Malphite. From the Kane, knock up from the Cho'Gath from downtown. First blood going down onto the Kane, but we got all the TPs investigating here. But I don't think the Silas is going to be able to skip it. A huge heal coming down from the W. And it just manages to get out, but we got the Tyrell teleport under the tower, and the rise with the meatiest flank I've ever seen. And a beautiful execution for McNally to ensure a kill onto the top lane there. And I think every teleport but the Cho'Gath has been invested at this point.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about the rise coming in from the back because there might have not been any minions, but he did bring in some minions to back him up, making sure that they take the turret aggro before he does. And yeah, that was just a very... Malphite, he was just put in a very bad spot because his wave was pushing towards Cho'Gath, and Kane could have just slipped on by, took a kill. And Silas, I did not know that teleport was very bad. The Malphite was already going to be dead, so if you just teleport in, you're also just teleporting into your demise.
Yeah, like a little late. Maybe if it come out a little bit earlier, if they like detected the play and invested earlier, it might have been okay. But we got a little skirmishing on the mid lane. Not quite going to be able to kill, but good damage coming out from the Silas. But actually the Rise winning in the extended trade there. Just a beautiful little trade into the mid lane there, but this is the wave going down on the bottom, and actually CS is pretty heavily in favor of McNally, but that's because they have been shoving up the bottom lane so much, and that's actually going to result in an early dragon take from McNally. They're going to spot this out, but their Hecarim is on the other side of the map counter jungling, so going to be no steal here.
Yeah, well, Hecarim knowing that he can't really go into the bot lane and fight, he just goes for a little bit of counter jungling to make taking away some of this gold from this game. And they've been the CS has been quite even this between the two junglers, and it looks like Kayn is also good to do a little bit of counter jungling for himself. The difference is that Kayn, he does have that kill, which is going to put him a little bit ahead of this Hecarim.
Yeah, and the gold department, but yeah, I think you also see that they're actually both just playing around the jungler vision so well. Like a lot of these deep wards have been able to spot like the Hecarim and the Kayn. Oh, but as I'm trying to talk about stuff, we got a gank coming out on the top lane. Hecarim going to go down, but probably not going to be able to kill the tanky Cho
Sylas
at
is
that
also
point.
coming up.
But actually, I think it was pretty crucial just because of the vision locked up there. But they're looking for a Roman here with the Sylas turns on to the rise and doesn't choose to fight early. And the Sylas does have the life advantage. They get the kill on the Cho'Gath as we're watching the duel in the bottom. And they're actually probably going to be able to pick up this rise. No, not quite. Oh, maybe that misstep might cost him his life. Oh, has to burn the flash instead. And that's Hecarim being able also to just dominate the jungle here. They are bringing up the support and the jungler, but I think it's a little too late for that.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of a misstep from Rise. Unfortunately, has to blow his flash, preemptive flash, to make sure that he does not get locked up. And
nice, Smite takes it back.
Kayn gets
All right.
it.
Yeah, just going to run back there. But that's also crucial, too, because it gave the Kayn the level advantage. And he also managed to stop a counter jungle from occurring just to keep himself even in XP and actually be ahead at this current moment. Oh, the Q hits, but I don't know if they're quite in engage range. Going to lock down on the Braum, but the shield, yeah, just not letting the Xayah get near that farm. And denying XP, too, with just how far they're pushing away the Xayah here. Just punishing the fact that Thresh roam mid.
Yeah, a little bit. One thing to know is that Cho'Gath, he did get pushed in during that dive-ish. He did get pushed into his turret, and mid lane was also pushing as well. So Sylas was able to kind of go roam up and just cover his jungler and his top laner, making sure that they could execute the kill down.
Yeah, exactly. And then we just got a full clear probably coming up from both junglers here. But actually, there's been a really exciting jungler matchup to watch because the vision on both sides has just been so good in the regard of just spotting out the jungler and then reactive play. They've almost been like on a key. It's been, oh, he sees him here, and then they do somewhere else. So it's been really fun to watch in that regard. And I think it's just showing the power of this vision. And it looks like we have a coming out. We will get that certified when we can. Yeah, we're just checking out the players currently, and we will update you all as soon as we can.
Yeah, overall, though, McNally, they're sitting at about a 900 gold lead right now, sitting at 1 Drake up. The early game has been going pretty well for them. But it's just, I'm surprised that the Kayn was not punished a little bit heavier through the counter jungling from Hecarim. But overall, McNally have been playing this early game really well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like they took that weakness that the Kayn might have had, and just because of these cross map plays from vision on the junglers and stuff like that, more of the plays they've set up have been successful, and they've kind of just mitigated that gap to the point where I think these comps are sitting like fairly even on what they can do. Like, so that the Hecarim gank is still volatile in any of these lanes, but so is the Kayn gank at this point. So I think it's going to be down to which team can kind of keep playing around the map in a better way. And McNally, throughout the series they played on stream, have showed that they're very effective at doing cross map plays, understanding when they have an advantage somewhere, and then turning that into something else. So I think they're going to probably keep that up. Now, Osborne obviously is no slouch in that same regard as well. You've seen like when they spotted the Kayn at one point, they went for a gank up on the top lane, or sorry, in the mid lane. So if they can just keep this stuff up here, they should be kind of an even battle of just like, they have fairly similar comps, I think, but it's just going to come down to execution at the end of the day.
Yeah, one thing to know is that even though they did get a little bit of a kill on the top side, Cho'Gath is always going to be playing weak side. So unless if what I'm trying to say is that even if you do get this Cho'Gath behind, he's still eventually going to be scaling into this just very tanky champion. It's going to be very hard to kill. So I think it would have been better if Osborne focused more of their resources into either the mid lane or the bottom lane.
Yeah, no, I agree, because it's going to come down to kind of like, I think, the 4v4 chunk, kind of similar to our second game where you guys saw, like, I kept calling the Goon Squad because it's just a funny name, but it's kind of a similar thing too, where it's just like, it's more about this 4v4 rotation, because they've opted into the Rise and the Sylas. That gives them two very mobile, easy to rotate around the map mid laners, so they can choose to go with their jungler, make impacts and stuff like that around the map. But because of just controlling the bot lane, you're able to get ahead in these sorry, you're able to get ahead in these dragons. You're able to get ahead, like you're able to get your AD carry fed. So I think it's just more important to play around this because, as you noted, it's just kind of a two tanky slap fight up. Both just going to inevitably scale up kind of no matter what you do, unless you set one really behind. But even then, if the game goes far enough, you're just going to get enough farm and still be relevant. Because I mean, at the end of the day, the Malphite's just got to press alt and Cho'Gath's just got to stand there and potentially eat somebody. So yeah, I think it's going to be down to that there. And I think there's a little bit more scaling on the side of McNally here, just simply from the Kayn over the Hecarim. But otherwise, I think it's fairly negligible, and I guess the Silas gets a little outscaled by the Rise just because of how much AoE damage the Rise does as opposed to the Silas, who's a little bit more focused on the single target.
Yeah, one thing that we kind of neglected so far is the Cho'Gath Feast and how it can secure objectives. It's basically another smite, and if you time it well with your jungler smite, there's no way that you should be losing Baron or losing Dragon to a Hecarim. Like.
All right, I'm just going to quickly check in with my producer and see if we have any updates at the current moment. All right, well, it sounded like maybe one of the players was having internet issues, but regardless, we are getting out of the pause and getting started up here. As our Zerber gets to, and Sarah Simonally get pulled back into the game. All right, well, we're getting underway here, and as we kind of highlighted during the small break there, I think we're going to see a lot of, like, I think focus around this 4v4 core in the bottom mid lane area and just like asserting dominance in the vision and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And Silas is pushed up very far in the mid lane. And
he's just going to get ganked on and kill. Oh, but that's a good ult to keep himself alive so his Hecarim can get there in time. But Kayn wisely just walks him towards the jungle in a big flank. Coming up from the Rise here. But doesn't opt to it. Oh, just oh no, he's going to go down. Oh, that was such a close fight.
Yeah, I feel like that was much closer than it should have been. Silas crucially stealing Kayn's ultimate and also healing for a little bit from that as well. And then just a little bit of miscommunication with the Rise going in to the other side of the river.
Yeah, I kind of abandoned him for a little moment there.
Yeah, but like overall, that was Silas was a little bit too far up into the lane, considering how he did not have any vision on the bottom side of the river. He should have played a little bit. Oh man,
we got fights coming down bot, but the flash Q misses on the side of Braum, but that's a big exchange going in the favor of the bot lane of Osborne too. Just blanking there for a sec.
All summoners blown by both of the bot laners. Well, everyone, even the supports as well.
Oh, we got engage coming out on the top lane. Huge Malphite all coming down, chained into the Hecarim from downtown. It's a good kill being picked up on the top lane here. That's going to allow Hecarim to probably look towards and set up vision around this Rift Herald. Yeah, they got priority mid. They're probably going to pick up this Scuttle, and that's probably going to be a Rift Herald confirmed for Osborne too.
Yeah, I also want to point out that the dragon is coming up very soon, and none of the bot laners are going to have their splashes up. Xayah, even though she does have an ultimate, she cannot move very far, while Tristana does have a rocket jump, has more of an escape tool from that. So this upcoming dragon fight, which is going to be pretty crucial.
Yeah, and also you saw that Osborne too was able to spout out all of McNally's vision there and actually assert their own little dominance over the pit area there. Now Thresh
asserting
is
dominance. That's
asserting
the game.
Dominance. But actually, you can't assert dominance when your wards just get instantly cleared, and that's McNally taking back the vision. Now they do have the people near this objective to take, and I think we're actually probably just going to result in a 4v4 fight here, though TPs are up on both sides. Actually, I'm judging by the Hecarim just clearing prugs. They actually might just be willing to just give it up.
Yeah, but that just giving up the dragon though, it's another Cloud Soul.
Yeah, it's another Cloud Soul classic. We haven't had a lot today. I think we've only had like two, so it's definitely an upgrade over the usual. They look for the little gank up in the mid lane here. Hecarim is nearby. Doesn't have ult though, so we'll struggle to get in the fight a little bit later. Oh, yeah. Oh no, okay, spotted him out.
No.
What the hell? They're going for the fight. Nice engage here coming down from the Silas. The Kayn misses the knockup. Oh, it's going back and forth, pushes the Kane back in, but the Kane ult crucially coming down, TP down from the Malphite. Does not have ult, so no going to be re-engaged. And just pushing it forward, getting this wave up, and they're probably going to do a little bit of damage to this turret, but a good mitigation from McNally here to work on the back burner. Oh, they're just going back and forth. Just looking for the damage, but the heals are too strong on either side, and nobody dies. But crucially, McNally did get the teleport out of the Malphite, so I think them coming a little bit ahead in that fight.
Yeah, you can also, Braum also kind of roamed up a little bit to, I guess probably to, if something does happen, he would also be there to help his team, which allowed Zaya and Thresh to push into the turret, get a for themselves, giving more gold to Zaya. He already has over 20 CS lead over this Tristana.
Yeah, that's definitely where you want to be in that matchup. So far it looks like the gold lead in the favor of McNally at this point. I think Rise crucially just actually picked up the Everfrost based on from the gold lead there, and that's going to give him a lot more precedence in the lane ganks over Silas, because Silas does have the E, but Rise just walks up, he has a root, he has the Everfrost. Like, there's so many options in which you can set up the gank. And speaking of ganks, we got one coming up near top here. Yeah, Malphite does have ult, so I don't think this is going to result in anything. Probably just going to Malphite ult to safety, and it probably doesn't even need it at this point. If it's just the Kane going in, like the Kane opting up, no, they're actually going to look to turn it, and the Hecarim is coming in, and the two double TP invested from the both teams. We got the Silas coming down. They have turned on to the Kane, and the Kane might die, but the healing is keeping him alive on the side. They're locking down on the Silas on the side here, but the huge heals coming down on the side here. And even though Silas alone is getting berated by the Rise, the heals are just too much. It keeps him alive. And he's actually got the Cho'Gath ult locked up there as well. That's a great fight from Osborne there.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a mistake for McNally. Malphite, he had both flash and ultimate, so I don't think there was a possible way that you were going to be able to kill the tank. So I think that they should have just pulled off to prevent anything like Kane overing and dying in that situation. But overall, they're still sitting at 1,000 gold lead. They haven't lost much on the bottom lane. In fact, Zaya is just getting more and more ahead.
Yeah, that's a little hook there, but just jumps out to safety. So Zaya doesn't have a ton of kill pressure on this lane just because of the double jumps, but because they've been putting a lot of pressure into this top side and fight. And speaking of fights, we got Rise teleport from downtown, looking to secure the scuttle away from the team. Oh, he's looking to just smite it away, but they ignored the scuttle for a bit, and then Hecarim comes in and steals it, and then Silas gets away. Some sneaky plays. A little smite run up from the Hecarim there. But actually, yeah, it's back on the point of that, because they've been putting so much attention top wave. Even though the Zaya can't kill the Tristana, she's been getting ahead in waves. She's usually been leading in XP and stuff like that, because they just can't contest it. But overall, I think this game is going to be very, very even. It just come down to a few crucial team fights. And honestly, these dragging control going in the favor of McNally has been quite interesting to see. Because I think they're going to need to, Osborne's going to need to turn that around, or they're just going to kind of lose off base stats.
Yeah, going back to the dragon. McNally getting these two early dragons, they are going to be able to stack, and if Osborne don't want, if Osborne wants to avoid an early LD dragon, they're going to have to fight McNally for these next few dragons as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be crucial, just like setting up that vision control, and actually Rift Herald going down for McNally here. It's a very crucial thing to pick up and keep their neutral objective lead just keeps going, because they have a gold lead right now. They've won most of the neutral objectives, and this Rift Herald is going to further that advantage that they currently have. And actually, there's just so much vision down in the bottom lane here. I don't know if he's setting up for a gank. No, I just kind of chilling there for a second. Here does come the gank, and he does have the denial under there, but they do spot out the Hecarim very early, so allows him to back off. They'll hook from here to deny the Braum for doing anything. Locked down with the root, and the jump invested from the Tristana, but very, very safe from the Zaya and the Thresh here. Not a whole lot they can do when they spot out the Hecarim that early.
Yeah, you could also, Kane and Rise are also roaming back down into this bottom river to kind of set up for the dragon as well. Zaya, right now, Zaya is... Okay, I can't talk.
Yeah, we just have a little bit of fighting in the mid lane here. They've invested on the Rise, pushing over the towers. The big TP, the Kane coming in, the TP being invested from the Cho'Gath, and he did go for the Everfrost build, which is being a little bit of damage is in the favor of McNally at the current moment. And they look to set up around this dragon. And also, crucially, they do have the feast stack, so it can't come down to a smite fight. Osborne has to contest this, because otherwise they just have to assume that McNally's going to mess up their the feast into smite combo.
Yeah, there's no way that Osborne should be able to get this. Just very good lane control and very good river control from the side of McNally to ensure that they get this third dragon.
Yeah, there's a little skirmishing down in the jungle here. The Brahms roaming up, trying to get in on this overcommit, and they've turned their attention on the Silas, but the heal is just too much, keeping him alive. Speaking of heals, the Kane is just sustaining through two members here, and they turn their attention on the Cho'Gath. All Kane all coming down, stuck in the back of the team, but the healing is just so much with the red stands. They're finally going to take the Kane down. And with the investment there from Osborne, they're going to be looking towards setting up some pressure on the mid lane here. And just so much healing on the side of Kane.
Yeah, just as I was praising McNally, they got caught out and they die. So I love Outcast cursing right there. But overall, McNally, they did get the dragon, but then they were just a little bit too greedy going for the counter juggling right there, because Braum was able to roam up from the bottom lane as making sure that the kill does go down, keeping the Cho'Gath busy as well, making sure that he did not have a part in that fight.
Yeah, and I think crucially, McNally is still ahead in the gold, so like that losing that play does kind of suck, but getting the dragon and staying ahead in neutral objectives is important because they still do have the Rift Herald on the Kane that they can drop somewhere to kind of maybe continue to snowball this gold lead. As I say it, they get tied up by Osborne on the gold lead, but overall they are maintaining a slight lead in the gold, and if they do use the Rift Herald, they can kind of maybe mitigate that mistake that they just made by either taking a turret or getting some extra gold into their pockets.
Yeah, this Rift Herald is gonna, I'm assuming it's gonna go either to the mid lane, just to open up the map a little bit more, because getting rid of that tier 1, it denies a lot of the safety that a Silas or a Tristana would have. And like I said, it opens up the map a lot more because you're also denying vision as well.
Yeah, exactly. And they're very, very aware that the Kane is there because they spotted him on the middle ward there in the river. So I think Heckram's either going to I thought he would go for a kind of a counter map play, but no, just decides to grab the camp that he didn't quite get. Yeah, and they're looking for the Rift Herald here, pretty close to expiring. Got to make a play with it sometime. And I think it's going to definitely be enough to just finish off here, and they're going to just zone them off so they can't get the kill. Probably only going to get the single turret off of here, and then they're probably going to clear it. Well, we got some fights down in the bot lane, and they're just trading so evenly at this point. There's so much healing on the side of Silas to just even out these trades, but Rise just does so much damage in these extended trades as well. So usually very, very even, and it's just going to come down to who's ahead in items. Very close in that regard at the moment.
Yeah, like you said, with the matchup in the bot, well, I guess with the mid lane matchup, but now it's in the bot lane. Silas, he is going to win these initial bursts, but I do think that he has to save his Kingslayer until after Rise gets kind of his combo up, so that he can heal up afterwards to kind of win the trade. And I haven't seen that happening a lot recently. But also right now, I think that Silas is wasting a little bit of time in this bot lane. I am being a little bit nitpicky right now, because the wave did push into the turret. It's naturally going to bounce back. He should. I think that he should have looked to get a little bit of vision down into the river, or maybe took a recall, get some more items. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I actually see that. There's just like not a lot of vision in the river at the moment, but that's likely due to just ward timings and stuff like that. Though the dragon's up in like a minute 30, so you're probably going to see the teams around like roughly a minute to spawn are going to start warding in there. There's some dewarding coming down here, and that literally alluded right to it. They're going to start setting up their vision now because the dragon will be spawning, and this is a very crucial dragon because McNally is 1 off of soul, and it is a win soul. It's pretty good on the Messiah because after she ults, she has a lot of maneuverability. The Cho'Gath can eat somebody, then run into the rest of your team. Actually, I think a big thing is actually Rise ults, and then you come out of Rise ult and you're super fast. So there's a few uses for it. It's still like definitely not the best Drake, but if you can get a Dragon Soul, you're gonna take it. And also the reduce in cooldown reduction on Cho'Gath is just absolutely insane. Yeah,
definitely, and it looks like that they're instead going to go for this Malphite in the top lane, who has both ultimate and flash. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're not going to catch that. And you get a little dance, little celebratory.
Yeah, I think the McNally should have focused a little bit more on the bottom side just because of this dragon spawning. But that being said, they can't spare this one dragon, a couple of dragons, just because they're already on soul point. Osborne does not have that luxury of doing so. So yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's about even vision control on both sides there. I mean, also saying also crucially is because they didn't bring the jungler to do that. It didn't give Osborne quite enough knowledge to know that, okay, this is free for us to take over this area. So they're coming in there. Are they going for a Baron? Are they going to trade this? Oh my goodness. And you see that they don't really have any vision up on the top side here. So I don't know if they know this is happening. Oh, we got a few missing pings coming down. Like, wait, where's the enemy team? We're taking Cloud Soul. Oh no, I think that they've almost got it melted down, but I think they're going to get here in time. The Kayn is crucially a level up, and they do have the Cho'Gath. So if they do flash smite Cho'Gath ult, they're not going to be able to take it. Oh, it's a wide disengage, understanding that they just don't outsmite McNally at this point.
This is extremely bad from Osborne because they just gave over a Cloud Soul onto McNally. You're going to have you didn't get the Baron, so you didn't get anything from that. And then you also, the Elder Dragon's also going to be spawning in 6 minutes later. So it just puts them at a very big disadvantage.
Yeah, no, definitely kind of going for a sneaky play, going for the call out, but they melted Cloud Drag too fast, and they also were onto them too early. And also they don't really melt neutral objectives on the side of Osborne quite yet. Because Tristana, though she is quite strong at the moment, is kind of starts, I think, melting mostly neutral objectives at like kind of 3-item-ish power spike. Silas is kind of negligible. Malphite doesn't really do much, and they got a little pick on the mid lane. While I'm talking about other things, they're going to get the kill down on to the Silas in the counter engage, and they're going to lock down the Braum likely here. Oh, but the Hecarim's going in. Hecarim gets himself hooked, and they're just locked down. The Hecarim got the box coming out, but still has ult in order to get out. Alright, we got the Kayn ult coming down. Probably not going to kill because it is red, and he gets himself pushed into his death. But that is still McNally coming out top, and we got some scuffles up in the top lane. But I think it's the Cho'Gath is going to come out on top here. Does have the ult, but no, the Malphite just runs away in the battle of the beefcakes. And they're McNally's going to turn their way towards his turret in the mid lane.
Yeah, on the backside of the mid lane fight, Silas did lose his life, giving another kill over to this Rise. But
oh, we're going to gang coming down on us. Okay, he does invest the ult, but I think they might be able to get the root down. And there's the Everfrost coming out, and there's
double
flashes out of the
Everfrost.
second Everfrost. There's the Hecarim running in, looking at that low health Rise, trying to finish him off. Great flash by Rise over the wall. It's continuing to put down damage, but here comes the Tristana over the wall, finishes off the kill. And actually, they're turning what would have been a kill onto the Malphite into a beautiful gank from Osborne. They're just running it down here, and they're probably going to get the Cho'Gath as well. Oh, they're still in. Oh, but there's the Thresh Lantern to get them out. Just not enough wave either to commit to the tower dive. Going to be able to get back.
Well, that was all happening. All this time, Xayah was alone in the bot lane, just pushing up these waves, denying some of this XP and some the gold. And also, like, McNally knows that something was happening top lane, so they just send Xayah, keep Xayah in the bot lane. Nothing was going to happen to her there. Just overall getting even more gold onto this Xayah.
Yeah, and a little gank coming up on the top lane here. Gets the knockup onto the Silas. Silas does still have heal, but the Cho'Gath ult is not on standby, so they will have to kill him fairly quick. The Everfrost coming out, but there's so much damage coming out from the Kayn. The heal has been invested. No more healing coming out after Silas after that, and that's a clean pick coming out on the Silas from the side of McNally. Probably going to look to transition this into maybe a Baron setup, or just push up these lanes.
And then right now, Xayah did push out the bottom wave, and this forces Tristana to respond. This forces someone to respond to the push bottom wave, and she's not going to be there to fight for this Baron.
Yeah, honestly, like, you are trading bottom tower, but you're losing Baron for it. They're probably going to pick a lane and just get far, far more out of it. McNally definitely coming up big on this trade. I mean, one's going to back, probably go clear the way bottom, and they're just going to counter jungle away all of Hecarim's remaining jungle as well. Huge play by McNally to get themselves in the lead. Huge gold lead, and definitely looking in the driver's seat to finish off this game fairly soon.
Yeah, definitely. However, one thing to note is that Tristana does have 3 kills now, looking to build towards that Infinity Edge, 3-item power spike that we were alluding to. But Xayah has already reached that power spike. So in an upcoming team fight, possibly in 2 minutes or something, Xayah is going to have the advantage. McNally is going to have a little bit of the advantage. You can see how they're already kind of suffocating the vision out of Osborne, trying to take over this jungle.
Yeah, take it over and set up for that Elder Dragon fight, which I think will be a key decider in this game, because if McNally gets it with how many turrets and stuff they have down, they can likely push it in the base and take a whole lot off of it. But the disadvantage you're going to run into if Osborne does, maybe say Osborne does come back and takes the dragon, because of the turret state on the side of McNally, they're actually probably not going to get a whole lot of the objectives. So it's like McNally has a whole lot to win and not a lot to lose if they do kind of all in on the dragon fight. They're looking to use this Baron buff and maybe force a fight mid.
I do think that McNally should send at least one member into the side lane so that they do have pressure in more than one lane. But overall, they're still using the Baron buff pretty effectively to take down these turrets.
Yeah, just keeping the siege on here. They don't actually really want to fight. They just want their cannon minions to just slowly wane down on this turret and potentially wait for Osborne to overinvest and make a mistake here. And they're rotating down the Xayah, maybe looking for a bit of a bigger commit. No, just a little idle poking back and forth, trying to keep them off of these cannon minions. And that's a little engage on here. Oh, the cross combos, and that pulls in the problem. Malphite all comes down onto 3 on the back line. And they've got those huge Xayahs coming down for the re-engage. A big chomp comes down to finish off the silence. And that's just a big engage from the Malphite that just gets completely turned on its head. And that's McNally running it into the Nexus. They have Baron minions, and it's likely they just need to pick up 3 more kills here. And that is actually just pushed down the waves. And they're just going onto these turrets, fishing off, and that is McNally. Likely gonna finish off this kill here. The Hecarim's running away, but almost dies to the feast there. Oh, they're going in the back here. They're re-engaging onto the Kayn, but the Kayn healing is just a little too much. Knockdown onto the Tristana, and they're gonna lock down. Huge hook from downtown, and that finishes it off. And that is McNally securing their place in Grand Finals of our tournament. But actually, no, the re-engage, I might have just cursed it. And they're going for the re-engage, looking to cut them down, but the Cho'Gath is just so tanky. No, there's too much damage coming down, and that Xayah is patting the KD on the side there. Realm War pulls away 3, and that is McNally for sure taking their place in finals, sending Osborne to 3rd place and knocking away the Osborne finals dreams.
Yeah, McNally, they played this game very well. They knew where they were weak. They knew where they were strong. Used the mid lane pressure that they had, translated over to these objectives. One thing crucially that Osborne misplayed, and which kind of led to this defeat, was the fact that they chose to go for the Baron. They weren't able to burst it down fast enough just because their champions did not have the power spikes yet. And McNally just kind of used that and just said, okay, all right, so let's get Dragon, we get Soul, let's keep playing this game. And they eventually won off of that.
Yeah, McNally running it all the way home. Well, I think that's going to bring an end to our last day of the Edmonton Public Schools Spring Inaugural Tournament for this. And then tomorrow we'll be coming up with finals. I would like to give a great thank you out to Swanner, our fantastic student volunteer, for coming out to commentate with us. Her first casting experience, and she absolutely killed it. And if any of you disagree, I'm going to do stuff. So thank you all for coming out. We're going to have our finals tomorrow. We'll be going through our last semifinals match, 3rd place match, and then we'll be ending with grand finals. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a lovely night.